Hello, fellow hunters of the night. This is Omega Ace Gaming with a post-commentary for my no-death run of Castlevania Legends. I've included a link in the description for anybody who simply wants to watch gameplay without the commentary, so if you prefer raw gameplay, check it out. So right away you'll notice that I played Castlevania Legends using a Super Game Boy. I wanted to be sure to do this so people can enjoy the nice overlay that it includes. Figuring out the names of the songs was a bit tricky, as there's a bit of an inconsistency among various sources. So I had to dig out the Akumajo Dracula Best Music Collections box released back in March of 2010. Interestingly enough, the Legends soundtrack was not released outside of this collection as of that year. The song currently playing is titled Game Select. You'll notice there are two modes, Standard Mode and Light Mode. In Light Mode, the player starts out with a fully powered whip. We work hard here in this channel, so I went with the Standard Mode. During my Belmont's Revenge No Death run, I had accidentally skipped the game's intro, denying you a song, so I made sure not to do that this time. The song currently playing is titled Prologue. Castlevania Legends opens up with a very familiar track, but with a different twist. Sonia Belmont's theme happens to be a variant rendition of Bloody Tears. Here we have two back-to-back bestiary entries, the Vampire Bats and the Will-O-Wisps. I'm very disappointed to say that there's no official art for the enemies in this game, not even in external sources such as Nintendo Power or the game's official guide. So what you'll be seeing here for the most part are the enemies' in-game sprites. The enemies' names also remain sort of a mystery, so I wound up naming them as I saw them, and at times I pulled them from Castlevania fan sites, such as Mr. P's Castlevania Realm. Here's a roundup of the collectibles in this game. Parts are collected to use attributes of the soul weapons. Meat restores half of your life gauge. The 1-up increases your remaining lives by 1. Crystals raise the power of your whip. Level 2 grants you the fireball ability. And the special items, which are the dagger, cross, holy water, axe, and the pocket watch. These can't be used in Legends, by the way. I believe these were included in the game almost to tell a story. This is the origin of where Trevor's famous sub-weapons came from. If you want to get the game's best ending, you require these, which I get in this run. Before the release of Lament of Innocence, Castlevania Legends was the farthest back the Castlevania timeline went, with Lament now taking place before it in 1094. In this game, an almost comical looking enemy, the ghost resembles a flying lizard with missing hind legs. They are absolutely not a threat, being eliminated with a single whip strike. You'll notice I skipped a candle down below. This is because this particular candle is a trap, dropping you into a room full of an absurd number of zombies. Spear guards make an appearance in this game. However, unlike in Rondo of Blood and Symphony of the Night, they don't put up much of a fight. So here's the first of the branching paths. This go around, you'll want to head right. As I mentioned in my Belmont's Revenge No Death run, Castlevania Legends has issues with eating jump inputs. I lost many no death runs since Sonia would refuse to jump and as a result would walk right off of the edge of a cliff. You'll notice I let the legendary axe linger for a while, but really I just wanted you, the viewers, to admire the sprite work. I'm disappointed to say that once Koji Igarashi became the Castlevania director, he changed the series canon, removing both Legends and Sonia Belmont from the timeline. I know I've killed many worms at this point in the game, but for the sake of the bestiary, I made sure to include this one. Yeah, that annoyed me. Another trap candle. Stay away from these, trust me. I'm actually relieved that there was a meat just above these spear guards, because things got pretty sloppy there, as you saw. The meats actually restore half of your health. They're pretty generous. You'll notice that at this point in the series, Konami had started a musical theme with the Castlevania titles, starting with Symphony of the Night. While not given a musical reference in the international releases, Castlevania Legends does have a musical subtitle in Japan, where it was titled Akumajo Dracula, Dark Knight Prelude. Aside from the title screen, there isn't much difference between these two versions. The only significant difference is the international versions having passwords, and the Japanese release having a battery save. The artwork is also substantially better in the Japanese manual, including Sonia in various sexy poses.
I'm interested in this.
And the game's bosses, all in color. Therefore, to please you, the viewers, I've included the art from the Japanese manual rather than the duller American manual. And here's the first stage boss, Creature's Bat. Its pattern is entirely predictable, flying over your head upwards and then diving towards your last location. With the power of Burning Mode, as it's named in the game's manual, Sonia gains invincibility, speed, and an increase in damage. We make short work of all the bosses in this game. During all the boss fights, the song that plays is called Boss Battle. I apologize for the simplicity of the song titles. You can tell they were sort of an afterthought. Stage 2's theme is called Inside the Castle. The song titles do less to stand out, and more to simply describe the point in the game that you're in. It's super mellow in nature. I kinda dig the song. The title, not so much. Here's another bestiary entry, the Bone Towers. Since the dawn of the series, these have been around, so there's no surprise here. Another entry for the bestiary, the Hunchback. They mostly just pace back and forth. As you may have noticed there, I used hearts for the first time in this run. This time to use the soul weapon power Wind, which temporarily freezes enemies in exchange for 5 hearts. Now, this particular bestiary entry, the Floating Skull, is quite familiar with its behavior. I kind of look at it as a more aggressive version of the Ghost from Super Mario Bros. 3. Another branch. This time we go up. I've unfortunately died here a few times before, due to not holding a direction long enough to jump from one rope to another. And here we have our second special item, the Pocket Watch. A few of the branching paths in this game really don't lead to anything worthwhile, one of which eats up just enough time to prevent you from getting your desired no-death run. I'll be sure to mention it once I get there in this run. I got a little overwhelmed there, and as a result I panicked and froze time. It really didn't do me any good. Collapsing bridges are a series staple. This is no different. While the backgrounds aren't as detailed as in Belmont's Revenge, I appreciate the books, the drapes, the windows. It's kinda cool. Here's a huge armored knight donning what resembles a sword or a spear. I'm gonna go with the name given to him by Mr. P's Castlevania fan page, the Sword Lord. If given the opportunity, this guy lunges forward with a stabbing motion. I froze him with 5 hearts to ensure that he didn't cause me any problems. You may have noticed that eliminating him removes the spiked floors and ceilings in the area just above. You gotta take him out to progress. A chicken and a candle? Yep, that's a thing. Here's the Stage 2 boss, Death Dragon. Its 2 attacks consist of spitting fireballs and shaking the castle to cause debris to come down and harm you. Burning mode once again trumps him. The description in the game's manual states that it was slain by Count Dracula himself and then was brought back as a living corpse. Now that's awesome. The Stage 3 theme kicks off in this somewhat orange stage. The song that plays here is titled Clock Tower of Darkness. This may be the longest stage in the game, at least it felt that way. I've gotta say, the number of enemies that come down from above in this stage is super annoying. Soon after this stage, you're given the ability to handle this scenario, but until then, the only thing that takes these guys out is a perfectly timed whip strike, which unfortunately I don't always pull off. Yeah, I was super irritated there. A new entry in the bestiary, the Rope Lizard. Mr. P's Castlevania Realm describes this creature as an advanced merman climbing ropes and spinning fireballs. I'm honestly not sure if Mr. P came up with this description himself or he pulled it from somewhere else, but it fits. I was relieved to know there was a candle meat here. It's essential in this stage. And here's the game's first mid-boss, the Flying Dragon. If you keep a safe distance away, you should have no trouble keeping away from the 3 fireballs that it launches. The platform on the left makes striking a bit easier as well. I had a bit of a moment there where I forgot if I was supposed to head left or right. Fortunately, I went in the right direction. For anyone wondering what was in the candle on the far right, I destroyed it from a distance. This was the first and last time I used the soul ability Ice, which restores the player's entire life gauge in exchange for 20 hearts. I still had roughly half of my life left before using it. In fact, I didn't intend to use it at that moment, but this was a perfect moment to include it in this run, so there it is. I paused the game and switched abilities back to Wind to ensure that this didn't happen again. I went left at this branch to head for the following special weapon. Next, we go up. Yes, this stage branches a few times. Up at the top here is the series famous dagger. Without wasting any time, I jump down to resume the stage. Heading left is pointless at this point in the game, so I went right to resume my journey to Dracula. Being stuck from above and below enemies is no fun. I couldn't wait to get this stage over with. Here's some trivia that I pulled from the website, thecuttingroomfloor.net. The game contains an unused sound test, which can be accessed with the GameShark code 010B20C5. There are unused tracks within the sound test, including the character death tune from Castlevania The Adventure, a song titled Continue, which was replaced with silence on the Game Over screen, and 2 variations of a theme named Okada. I made sure to include these tracks in the video description, so please check them out. According to thecuttingroomfloor.net, an unused graphic of a coin is also present in the game's code. In the end, this was not needed as there was no score kept in the final version of the game. Did you know? Sonia Belmont was initially intended to return to the series in a cancelled Dreamcast game, Castlevania Resurrection. The soundtrack, composed entirely by Mark Lindsay, is available for our listening pleasure on his website. I'll be including this in the description of the video. A now scrapped character, Victor Belmont, was also intended to make his debut appearance in this game. This title would have been set in 1666, 25 years before Simon Belmont's timeline. Considering Castlevania Legends was set in 1450, this would have undoubtedly involved time travel, something uncommon in the series. As of April 27th of last year, the ROM for Resurrection's prototype has since been dumped, so anybody who's curious to try it out can find it online quite easily. I remember how badly I wanted to play the prototype for this game back when it was proven to exist. However, now that it finally reached the public's hands, I haven't been in a hurry to try it out. Maybe it's because I know it's in a far from finished state, and what I would try out would sort of be a letdown. We finally reached the end of this never-ending stage. The boss is listed in the game's manual as the Grim Reaper. He bounces back and forth and throws one sickle at a time. This is a far cry from the Grim Reaper of the older titles, where he's more aggressive and spawns sickles all around you. With Burning Mode, I make short work of him. We open up the blue stage with a far more entertaining track, titled Highest Castle Floor. This stage has a few new enemies that we'll be adding in the bestiary, so keep an eye out. The Sword Lords make a return, this time preventing you from hopping to the necessary platforms. It's very easy to slip up here, as backing away even slightly causes them to respawn. You'll notice I accidentally respawned them a few times there. The oversized spiders. They aren't hanging off their webs this time, but crawling aggressively towards the player. This stage is riddled with them. The branch that I'm passing here takes away just enough time to where thoroughly examining the stage takes enough time away to kill you with the timer. Yes, this has happened to me before. Another enemy introduced in this stage, let's call it the Death Flower, fires out spikes to slow down and damage the player. And here's a sub-boss with her own dedicated artwork. And why shouldn't she? Medusa's a staple character in the Castlevania franchise. Staying on the side of the screen and crouching takes care of her with ease. Love her design with the sword. This branch in the stage is vital as it leads to the following special item, the Holy Water. Up ahead, you can see the enemy, accurately named in Mr. P's Castlevania Realm website as a mudworm. If you stand still, it won't go through you. It's merely there to hinder you, so take your time and whip it when approached by it. You'll notice that I have the Soul Weapon Flame equipped. This wonderful ability damages enemies on the screen in exchange for 5 hearts. All the pesky enemies that come from above and below you are no longer a threat. Thank goodness. And here's the holy water. At this point, we've got almost all of the items necessary to get to the game's best ending. Now this jump, or lack thereof, scares the heck out of me. If you attempt to jump towards the rope, you end up clipping the blocks above you and they stop you in your tracks. Walk off of the ledge and hold right. For the love of God, hold right. While this stage is not particularly difficult, the number of bats can quickly become overwhelming as they eat away at your health. I was very thrifty with my hearts, mostly because I like to save them for the end game. But maybe I could have used them a bit more often. I guess I don't like abusing the game's soul weapons either. And here's this stage's boss, Alucard. During this talking segment, the song that plays is called the Castle Lord's Room. I absolutely loved Legends due to the implication that Sonia and Alucard were romantically involved. In this way, the Belmont family bloodline was tied to Dracula. But with Koji Igarashi throwing the game out of the story's canon, this was sadly no longer the case. As simplistic as the dialogue in Castlevania games can be, I was still drawn in by the connection Sonia and Alucard shared. This dialogue could easily be skipped, but I didn't want you guys to miss out on what little story the game has. The artwork in the portraits is really nice too. During this battle, the song that plays is called, you guessed it, Alucard Battle. I wish the composers had come up with more creative names, but this is what we were given. Ow. With Alucard's defeat, we're giving the penultimate soul weapon, Saint. This wave is very similar to the Fireball ability. It costs just 1 heart to use. I don't think I used it at any point until the end of the game during the final battle, but there it is. The song that plays during Stage 5 is called Underground Watercourse. While this stage is particularly long, with a mid-boss and many pitfalls, it is divided up due to a hidden stage that appears about halfway in. Personally, I'm relieved that this is the case, as it breaks the monotony of this song. The stalactites on the ceiling force players to measure their jumps carefully, as hitting them causes severe damage. At this point, I'm sure you've noticed the bouncing enemy, which I would call the Merman or Fishman. Not particularly dangerous, but when placed in an inconvenient location such as a pitfall, these guys can seriously ruin your run. Aside from the bosses, this concludes the bestiary in this game. This particular mid-boss, referred to as Ninja Tor on Mr. P's Castlevania Realm fan site, is ordinarily a nuisance since Sonia's burning mode can only be used once per stage. Without using it, you'd have to carefully evade this creature's jumps by measuring the distance underneath it and moving accordingly. Luckily for us, the upcoming hidden stage means I can use burning mode more than once in this level, since it ends up splitting it into 2 levels. As you just saw, this alleged dead end actually opens up to become a path that leads us to the hidden stage. This room here, which appears to have a death pit underneath, is where we need to go to access the hidden stage, leading up to both the final soul weapon and special item of the game. This awesome song, which plays during the only hidden stage in the game, may have the most excellent name in the game. This song is called Dungeon of Silence. The International Manual implies that there are more hidden stages, but that's actually not the case. The song that plays here as the will-o-wisps come from both sides of the screen is called Trap Room. Remember the candles I told you not to hit earlier in the game? The room full of zombies? Yeah, this song would have played there too. This branch in Pathways takes us to the final special item, the Cross. As long as we complete the game, we're guaranteed the best ending with this last acquisition. This hidden boss, the Executioner, is a headache without burning mode. I may consider making a tutorial video for getting around these bosses without it, but for now we're just gonna sweep the guy and resume the previous level. You'll notice that we're soon traversing the second half of the underground watercourse. As I stated before, dividing this otherwise long level into two halves makes it easier to manage and more enjoyable to play through. Another major plus here is that Sonia's burning mode has been reset, which means we can use it again. If you look at the bottom left corner, you'll see that we now have the final soul weapon. Referred to in the manual as magic, this soul weapon literally vanishes all on-screen enemies in exchange for 5 hearts. With 99 hearts, I could essentially wipe every screen of its enemies, but I decided to use this sparingly for the sake of entertainment. Did you catch the flashing screen? That was the power of magic. It totally breaks the game. This final branch leads us to the game's last Candlemeet. This one pretty much ensures our victory. During Dracula and Sonia's dialogue, the song that plays is titled Dracula's Castle Cathedral. As I had previously mentioned during Sonia and Alucard's dialogue, I absolutely love the art style they used in the portraits. Its anime-inspired aesthetics appeal to me. We run through Dracula's first form with Burning Mode and jump right into his final form. While battling to a variation of a very familiar song, we're cautious of the pitfalls and switch to the soul weapon Saint. We aim for Dracula's head and consistently fire projectiles. Combined with Sonia's fireballs, Dracula's second form goes down quickly. And that's the game. While the in-game graphics aren't as nice as the ones in Belmont's Revenge, with the backgrounds particularly lacking, I do appreciate their effort in making this title a bit more story-driven than the other two. Here is the final shot of Dracula's castle as it submerges in the water below. The credits theme is uncreatively titled Ending. The blue colors with Sonia removing the braids in her hair really add beauty to the game's end. I'd like to take this moment to dedicate my No Death Run to Zombie JLT1. His generosity and dedication to supporting others in our YouTube community are of great value to me. In addition, his passion for this franchise is something I share in common with him. I love talking with like-minded individuals about these games, and Zombie does just that. Anyway, I hope to see you next time during my No Death Run video of Castlevania Chronicles. Also, be sure to stick around for the end of this video, as I included clips to show you some of the work involved in the making of the video, and the extended ending, which only plays when all of the special items are collected. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you'd like to see more content like this, please consider hitting the like button, subscribing, and turning on the notifications, as it does help keep the channel going. This is Omega Ace Gaming, and thanks for watching.